Hello and welcome to another episode of Thoughts Shared Souls Bared. I am Katie.
And I'm Jill.
And today we're going to be talking about the 2020 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, specifically the Broadway portions, but
Yeah.
we can talk about other parts, like the fact that I buzz through every other musical act because they're so obnoxious to me. I can't handle it.
Yeah, I feel it. This year was different though. This year they had like a lot of different cultured.
Yes, I really enjoyed that.
Which was fun. I liked it. I thought it was really, I hope they continue. I don't know why they didn't do that before. I think that should have been a thing from the beginning, but I hope that they keep doing it.
And then they had all the people from all the different parades around the city come and say hey, we know your parade got canceled, so here, celebrate here. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
I thought that was really great, especially giving them, because those other parades aren't broadcast.
Yeah.
They just
I forget about them most of the time. And then I'll see on Instagram or something, there's one and I'm like, oh yeah, those happen.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot about islands and stuff, and it was so cool. And then I don't know if because like I said, I typically just scroll through the parade until it gets to the Broadway parts.
Yeah.
They typically have the native ceremony.
No.
Or was this the first year?
That's never happened before. And I've been watching it since I was a kid. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Which is when it was happening, I was like, why don't they do this every year? That feels like something that should have started a long time ago. But at the same time, I feel like this year has made bigger corporations more culturally and socially aware of.
As they should be. As they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So the show that kicked off the Broadway performances was Hamilton.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either.
I'm not surprised.
So the thing about the Broadway, in every other year, the actors are clearly lip syncing. It's clear, and it's very transparent that they are not singing live during their performances on the Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah.
But what was weird to me about this performance as Hamilton's is it didn't even try to feel it wasn't live. It was very much we're in front of our theater and Josh Henry is in street clothes while everyone else is just in their regular clothes. And then hard cut to there in front of Macy's and he's in full Aaron Burr outfit.
Yeah.
I was very much what?
It was so funny because and I said this before, I don't really have an attachment to Hamilton. I don't hate it, but I don't have any attachment to it in any kind of way. But what was so funny to me is that was the first one. I was doing my makeup and I heard up next Broadway cast of Hamilton, and I ran into the living room because I was I'm not gonna miss any of them. First of all, this is the first legitimate Broadway that we've had all year. And so I ran to the living room, I took my makeup and I ran to the living room to do my makeup in there to watch it. And I started crying. I was very emotional about it because they were outside their theater, which is a theater I walk past all the time when I'm in the city. And it's just it was very emotional for me because I was oh, I miss it. And I was and the fact that they were all performing together, it just made me really happy. I loved it. And I did that for all the performances. All the performances made me very emotional.
Mm-hmm. It was weird though, because there's a woman in the cast, and I'm not going to say I grew up with her, but she is the only dance teacher I've ever had, her daughter. So I have friends who know her. My friend Olivia, who grew up in the dance program, she knows that whole family, and she knew her she knows the whole family. She knew her when she was in Wicked, and she was in West Side Story, and now she's in Hamilton, and it's really cool to see. And it's
that's so fun.
I did a production of Annie, and then I just remember her helping out with the dance parts.
Yeah,
she's older than me, and she's even older than my brother, but I remember that, and I saw it, and I was so it was so cool. I was oh my god, that's her.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. Ugh, that makes me happy.
And that made it so personal because I'm like, oh my God, it's like,
and you already like have an attachment to Hamilton anyways, like you already have an emotional attachment to it. So like that probably just added to it.
And then, yes. And especially, I love Josh Henry.
Oh my God, same. Oh,
Josh, I love him so much. I saw him in Shuffle Along, actually on the same trip that I saw Hamilton for the first time. And I was like, I love you because I was such a big fan of American Idiot, and he had the Favorite Son track, and I was obsessed with that song. And his vocal performance in that song too is it's astounding, which actually on tour, Oak did that role.
Oh, I love Oak. I just watched his episode of SVU the other day.
Oh my gosh.
It's a transphobe. Spoiler alert. It's not fun. Not a good look.
So I love Josh Henry, and then being able to see him in Shuffle Along, I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm so excited. Yes. And then I had bought tickets to see Hamilton in Chicago. It was very much like a spur of the moment. I got a weird like last paycheck from an internship, and I was like, well, I'm just going to spend this money and I'm just going to go to Chicago on spring break. And so I bought tickets to see Hamilton in Chicago, and I was very excited because he was supposed to be playing Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
And he,
I remember that the production, is that the production that Andrew Call was King George?
I don't know.
Him? I think he did it in Chicago.
Could be. Could be. But Josh Henry, so he's supposed to be in it. And then I think like a month or two before I was supposed to go, it was announced that he was leaving the Chicago cast to join the national tour, which kicked off in San Francisco. And I was like bummed. I was like, oh, whoever they get, it's still going to be good. Like, I'm so excited to see it. Regardless, I love the show. Yeah. I'm excited to hear Notlin sing the Hamilton parts. I was excited for that.
Why is that me?
I love Lynn. I love him so much. I think he's so talented, and he's responsible for why I am the way I am. But I was very excited to hear a different person sing Hamilton.
That's why I'm excited for the In the Heights movie. I'm excited for Anthony to sing.
Yeah, I'm very excited. But so I was like, okay, well, I'll get to see him. I'll get to see Josh Henry as Burr when the tour comes to LA. Yeah. And then they announced that Wayne Brady was going to be the person taking over for him, and I was like, "Oh hell yeah!"
Like, what a freaking like.
And I had just seen him in Merrily We Roll Along. Yeah. I think it was like literally a couple weeks after I saw him in Merrily We Roll Along, it was announced that he was going to be Burr in Chicago, and I was like, "Oh hell yes!"
How does this always happen to you? I'm so freaking jealous, dude. Meanwhile,
just lucky, I guess.
This is no hate on like understudies. I live for an understudy / standby moment. But when I tell you, I went to see Waitress to see Sarah Bareilles in Waitress with my parents. And it was when she had the flu. And it was like, it's so opposite of you. Like you always get like the really good, like, oh, this other person is going to be in it. And I'm like, oh, couldn't be me.
Well, here's the thing.
I will say Stephanie Torrance belted her face off as Jenna and Waitress. She's an amazing Jenna. And
I'm sure she's the one that on their final performance, Catherine McPhee closed that show? Or who closed that show?
That's a good question.
I think it was Catherine. Was it Catherine McPhee? She
probably.
She like brought her out and said, "You get your own special bow."
She had been in it since Boston. Like she had been with that show since its conception. So
and she was always the understudy, always the standby. She was always the other Jenna.
So good. She is so good. Like, oh my God, she's amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice that happened.
I'm pretty sure my dad told her how good she was at Stage Door too. So.
But I mean, I've had my share of understudy moments when I wanted to see the lead. It happened with Cara Lindsay twice in Wicked.
Oh no! My friend saw Cara in Wicked. I think on like a school trip. I think that he saw her.
Well,
He
I
loves
really
to
wanted
rub
to
it in my friend's face because she's obsessed with Cara Lindsay, and he loves rubbing it in her face. It's so funny.
I'm not like the biggest Cara Lindsay fan. Like, I'm like, yeah, she's good.
No,
But I
she's
wanted to,
great. Yeah.
and I wanted to see her as Glinda.
Mhm.
It was her and she and Jackie Burns were Elphaba and Glinda.
That's my Elphaba.
And so I got tickets to see it with my mom because we hadn't seen it in probably 9, almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wicked was going to be in LA for a really like decent amount of time. Because whenever Wicked comes to LA, it's always here for a while, for like a month or 2, or maybe even 3, I think at that point. And so I got these tickets, and my mom and I went, and we had an understudy, and I was like, oh, okay, well, like whatever, like it's fine.
Yeah.
And then Jackie Burns, holy shit. Holy Jesus. Her voice insane. I literally went to work the next like Monday, and I went to my friend who, when the If Then tour had come through our theater, what the night that my friend Kelly saw the show, Idina was out and Jackie Burns was on, and I was like, Kelly, why didn't you tell me that Jackie Burns could do that? And she was like, oh yeah, she's good.
No, she's amazing.
She's insane.
This is another no hate on Idina Menzel, because I love Idina Menzel. But I will say this. I say this a lot, and my friends always laugh at me, but it's true. I don't think her voice has been the same since Wicked. And I think that Jackie Burns' voice is somehow standing so much better than Idina's does sometimes. I think her voice is healthier than Idina's has been. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, because sometimes even when I'm listening to like Frozen, I'm like stressed for her because it sounds like very strained, and I'm like, Idina, stay healthy, please. Like, I love you. Stay healthy.
I love If Then, though. I feel like a lot of people trash If Then. I love If Then.
I've listened to it maybe once because my friend really liked it. But other than that, I don't really have an opinion on it. I think it's just not for me. I think it's just not my type of show. Speaking of which, the Jagged Little Pill performance.
Yeah.
I watched half of it because I think it was happening while I was making mimosas. But it was good. Mm-hmm. I liked that performance. That was a good performance. It was cute.
Yeah, that was the finale that they performed, which is really nice. I feel like their ensemble is much bigger than what was there. Like, I feel like
it felt very
it felt scaled. Yeah, it felt very scaled down because they use that stage. They take over.
Like, they use their space. Okay.
They really use their space.
And the Broadhurst isn't big either, is it? The Broadhurst is one of the smaller theaters. Okay. I've never been in the Broadhurst. I
think so. I've been in the Broadhurst a couple of times. I saw Anastasia twice, and then I saw Jagged Little Pill. So I almost saw every time I've been in the Broadhurst, I've seen Derek Klena. Like,
love that.
Who is another person that I just grew up around.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
He is another person that I have. He's like friends of friends of mine.
Oh yeah, he's
I know a lot of people who grew up in that West Covina, San Dimas, Azusa, very crazy ex-girlfriend area. Yes. Doing theater, and they did theater with him, and so I know people who did theater. In fact, the girl who was in Hamilton, I'm positive, probably did theater with him as well.
Probably. I love that. He's great. I think Derek Klena is so good.
So do I.
Dogfight, sign me up. Come on.
I love Dogfight. The superior Pascal and Paul musical, I'll say.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. It was so good. It's so much better than Dear Evan Hansen and...
Which, speaking of Dear Evan Hansen, the CBS performances, they just re-aired what they aired 3 years ago.
That's what I thought was going to happen, because whenever I saw, my parents had CBS turned on right before the parade, so I had to go back to the other channel or whatever. But I saw and don't miss these performances or whatever, and I was like, I don't think that these are different from what they had before. Like I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I couldn't find them anywhere because I didn't watch them when they aired or anything, so I can't find them anywhere.
It was definitely, and what ticked me off, not ticked me off, what tipped me off to that happening was I turned it on, and not only when I recorded it was it like back to your programming that's already in progress. They were halfway through the song already for "Come From Away," and they were doing uh oh god, what's the name of the song? Oh my god, I don't know the names of any of the songs in "Come From Away" except for "Me in the Sky."
Oh.
Because I just listened to them all like this, and so there's no break for me. What's the name of the song? Hold on. I will find it. I will find it. I will find it. But it's the song where they're landing back in, they're like on their trip back into the US. What is it? It's the 38 Planes reprise. Somewhere in, come on, I don't want to see it like this. Come on. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere. It's like going very slowly. So 38 Planes reprise / somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And I was like, that's Jen Colella. She hasn't been in the show in a minute.
Yeah.
And then
as I say, I think that's what tipped me off is because whenever they were showing like a snippet before it aired, I was like, Jen's not in the show. I was like, she's in the original cast, but she's not. I
was like, yeah, she left the show a while ago, like a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, she was in the show for a long time.
Well, and then I saw Alex Fink and I was like, I think Alex Fink is still in the show. Like, I think she's been in it since it first came. I think she's still in it. So like I saw her, so I didn't really think much of that. But then I looked over and I was like, that's Jagged Colella. That's not right. I was like, that's weird. But
yeah, and then also when they pulled out, you saw audience, and I'm like, yep, this is old. I was like, this is old.
Just kidding.
And then the Dear Evan Hansen performance, I was like,
You Will Be Found.
Yeah. But it's Taylor Trench. And I was like, I forgot he was Evan Hansen. I
you
forgot
said his name and I was like, he was Evan Hansen because it was so long ago that I literally forgot he was. Oh my god.
So did I. I was like, who is it going to be? I forgot. At this point, I've forgotten everybody who's ever. Well,
Jordan was Evan before it shut down.
Yes, he was it when it was shutting down.
Yeah, so I knew that he wasn't doing it because he just got married. Yeah. So like I knew that it wasn't him.
Yeah, I was like, I had completely forgotten that he played Evan Hansen, and I was like, oh yeah, because at the same time, Ben Levi Ross was on the tour as he was on, or maybe the tour happened right after he was on. Anyway, it was weird because they were both Evan Hansen, but I feel like that can happen sometimes. And then I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. I was like, what year is this? I was like, it's probably 2017. And then it clicked in my head because I remember I sent you a Snapchat like last week or something, and I was watching the American Theater Wing like 100th anniversary, and I was like, why is Taylor Trench in this? And then I'm like, oh, that makes sense now because he was probably playing Evan Hansen at the time.
I forgot you sent me that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, at that point, like all the wheels started to like click into place.
Right.
And then I was trying to think, okay, well then when was he in Hello Dolly?
Yeah.
And so I'm like trying to pinpoint when this was, and I'm like, maybe it was 2018.
Taylor Trench is one of those actors that like I forget about, and then he'll like show up somewhere, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's a thing. Like he'll like I'll be like scrolling through Instagram and see like a clip of him in something, or like a photo of him as a character, and I'm just like, oh yeah, he did that. Like I'm like he's not like one of the actors that I'm constantly like thinking about or is in my brain at all times. And there's a lot of those. So a lot.
My friend Marcy is for whatever reason like weirdly obsessed with him.
And is that the one that's seen Darren Hansen like 1,000 times?
No, that's my friend Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Who I think may have seen Taylor Trench as Evan Hansen. I'll have to ask her. She's seen it 1,000,000 times.
I was about to say, you've talked about how many times she's seen it, and that worries me.
So many times.
Like,
it's her favorite show. And I'm like, okay, it can be your favorite show.
All right.
But
Not mine, but
not mine, but it can be yours. That's fine. It can be, it can be anybody's favorite show. It just doesn't have to be
glad
mine.
that you and I are on the same page about Jared Hansen. That makes
me too
very happy.
We're on different pages for some musicals, but
yeah,
Dear Evan Hansen, we're on the same.
Yeah.
When it comes to Pretty Woman, we're on different pages. I also feel like, I also don't know if you care that much about Come From Away as I do.
I don't like, it's just something, I don't think it's meant for me. So like, I've listened to it maybe once or twice, but like, other than that, I'm just like, oh yeah, I love the cast. I think it's a great cast. And then I'm just like, okay, what's next? Like, at the Tonys, the year that Come From Away was nominated, what else was there?
Dear Evan Hansen, Comet, Bandstand.
Yeah, I think that was the year that I was so focused on Bandstand that I had tunnel vision. I couldn't think of like any other show because I was like, this is my show. This is like, because Bandstand is, as we've said before, it's one of my favorite musicals. So it was like, I couldn't even think about all the other shows. And also all the other shows weren't really for me anyways. Like those were not really my thing anyways, like Comet and Come From Away and everything.
Comet, my love.
I feel like that season was like your season. Like
that was my season. Oh, you had Comet and Bandstand.
This season is my season and it went to shit. So I'm pissed.
Oh, I'm pissed that this season went to shit too. I was really excited. I was really excited about Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, like I actually really wanted to
Company
see Mrs. Doubtfire. Don't even get me started.
Girl from the North Country.
Company is my favorite musical of all time. I was so freaking excited to see it. Oh my god.
I was excited for Flying Over Sunset. Because I wanted.
Is it Tony Yazbeck in that? Was it
Tony Yazbeck, Carmen Cusack.
Give me Tony Yazbeck
Harry
and Tap Shoes, and I'm so
Harry
happy.
Hayden Patton, I think, was in that cast. Erica Henningsen.
Queen.
And it was an original musical.
Yeah.
And it was about people like tripping in LA. And I'm like, hell yes, sign me up.
Literally, though, you put Tony Yazbeck on a stage. Sign me up. Put him in Tap Shoes. Please continue putting Tony Yazbeck in Tap Shoes on a stage because that's all I want forever. He's like, I'm not even kidding you. He's the greatest. He's my favorite tap dancer, and I watch a lot of classic musicals. He's my favorite tap dancer.
I have a story to tell you about Tony Yazbeck, but we can't do it on air.
Okay.
I'll tell you later.
Oh my god.
I feel like I may have told you this. I feel like I had to have told you this at some point. Anyway.
You probably have.
You have to remind me to tell you about Tony Yazbeck.
Okay.
It's literally nothing bad. It was just like a weird thing.
Okay.
Anyway, what else performed? So then
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls did perform. I was
Renee.
essentially screaming the entire time Mean Girls was on because I went, these lyrics are so lazy.
Don't even get me started on the Mean Girls lyrics, Katie. Oh my god, it makes me so mad.
I made a TikTok the other day where I said, I don't understand how Nell Benjamin can write such beautiful, funny, poignant lyrics for Legally Blonde and then turn around and deliver shit lyrics for Mean Girls. Mean Girls, the lyrics are so bad. Somebody once broke down on TikTok the lyrics to I'd Rather Be Me, and they are so bad. Yes. It's like not even grammatically
You were my
correct.
friend Emma sent them to me. I don't even remember who it was. It was either you or my friend Emma.
I don't know.
I was like, oh god.
But like, and this has nothing to do with the cast of Mean Girls, anybody's performing ability. This is my beef with Nell Benjamin.
No, literally strictly him. Because
her.
Oh my god, I'm so tired.
And I'm like, okay, who was it? I want to know if it was because she had I'm truly just comparing the Mean Girls and Legally Blonde. And I'm wondering if it's because Nell Benjamin wrote Mean Girls with her, or wrote Legally Blonde with her husband, Lawrence O'Keefe, that they had like a better writing process together. And I wonder if there was some and then she wrote Mean Girls with Jeff Richmond. Who is Tina Fey married to?
Something like that. I don't know.
Let me see.
I don't keep tabs on Tina Fey. I'm not a fan.
I like Jeff Richmond. So Jeff Richmond wrote the music to it, and he's like the music director.
The music itself slaps.
Yes, I think the music is the music is good. The lyrics are shit.
Yeah. Yes.
And I made a TikTok about that, and people were getting on my ass about it. They're like,
They
what is all
were.
this? What is all this Mean Girls hate? And I'm like, first of all,
It's not hate, it's constructive.
yeah. And I'm like, I just don't get it. How
Yeah.
it's two completely different pieces of work.
Yeah.
And the only thing they have in common is, or I guess the two things they've got in common is they're both based off movies and they're both pink. Like, that's it.
Like the Mean Girls musical, it drives me insane for so many reasons. I have my own beef with Mean Girls as a concept. I don't like the movie. I've seen it twice in my life.
See, I like the movie.
I've never liked it. And then
I was so excited to see the musical that I saw it in its out-of-town tryout in Washington, D.C. because I was excited to see it.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed.
Yeah, and like my thing is I have never liked it, and so I listened to the musical completely like objectively, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to this, and I'm just gonna listen. Like I'm not gonna go into it hating it because I don't know what it's gonna be like. I was like, maybe I'll really enjoy it, and then maybe I'll want to go and see it. Like I didn't know, so I listened to it, and I was like, no. I still hate this. I still hate Mean Girls because I don't think that there's a redeeming character in that storyline. I'm sorry, but every single character in that story irritates me. I don't think there's a single one that I think is a good person in any way.
That's how I feel about Dear Evan Hansen, but
yes.
I do think that in Mean Girls they redeem themselves at least a little.
But they don't really fully acknowledge the issues that they, like the things that they did. They just punish each other for them. No one actually fully is self-aware of what they're doing.
That's fair.
No one is self-aware, and that makes me
I think Janice is self-aware because she's the one that's plotting this whole thing.
I think she's self-aware, but at the same time, she's plotting them because she's victimizing herself instead of looking at the facts and seeing that she is also a bad person.
Yeah, everyone's a bad person in that.
Yeah, everybody.
I think they do, personally, I think they do redeem themselves at the end. Yeah. More so than like Dear Evan Hansen. Where it's just like hard cut end.
Dear Evan Hansen's just like, oh, he lied. Okay.
And people will twist and turn and manipulate how they think that is by being like, well, the parents don't want this and don't want that, and they don't want their,
and that's
they
fine.
Don't want him to, yeah, and like you can make that
canonically judgment. Speaking, that doesn't
happen.
Not the case.
Yeah, it's never blatant. But so with Mean Girls, the music, the lyrics are so garbage. Like the song she was singing was "Someone Gets Hurt," and the lyrics.
Someone gets hurt, I bop to. I will openly admit that. I bop to that song. I think I love the music for it, and I love Renee. So like I'll listen to Renee sing it at any time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I like vocalizing to it. Like it's fun to sing. The lyrics are shit. The part where it's just like, yes, they do that. And then the next phrase ends in see right through that. Like you're rhyming that with that.
And then there's like that whole line where she's like, God, you're hot. Just take off your shirt. Why? Why is she saying it the way that she does?
And then it's
that's not natural. Like no one looks at a man and just like, God, you're hot. Take off your shirt. Like no one says that.
I just get so angry. The only song that I think is a good song, music and lyrics in that entire show
is it
World Burn.
That's what I thought you were gonna say. I knew you were gonna say World Burn. I like World Burn.
The way Taylor Louderman sings it on the Cast album, I think is really good.
I've seen like clips of Renee doing it. Hot. Renee is so good. I told my sisters, we were like watching that performance, and I was like, it makes me so mad when people younger than me are more talented than I am. Like, it makes me so sad.
I don't allow, when I find out that somebody is younger than me and they're successful, I go, nope, illegal. Literally. Like watching the Dodgers this season, I'm always going to go back to baseball. I fucking love baseball so much.
Valid.
I was like, when I found out that Cody Bellinger is a couple, like he's like 2 months or so, 2, maybe 3 months younger than me, I'm like, barely cutting it. And then Corey Seager, love my life. I love him so much.
Who's Corey Seager?
He is almost exactly a year older than me. His birthday is, I think, like April 27th.
He's younger than I thought he was.
94.
I just always assume that baseball players are like 1,000 years old.
So do I. And then I was like, okay, Will Smith. How old is Will Smith? Will Smith is 1 month older than me. And I'm like, okay, these are things we're allowed. These are things we're allowed. Right. When I find out they're younger than me,
so
I'm like, no, illegal.
What's so funny about like the Yankees is all their younger players are like the players that they've brought in from like other countries. Like the players that they've like brought in from America are all like really old. And then you've got like, oh my God, like it blows my mind. That's the
exact opposite of the Dodgers. I feel like the older ones are the ones who are like Kenley Jansen. He's from Curacao, and he's older. I mean, he's not old, but he's older.
I'm trying to think, because the Yankees, I don't know, I feel like the Yankees keep getting younger for some reason.
And then I literally will, if I start to like somebody's performance like on the team, I go immediately to find out how old they are, and I'm just like, illegal. Like we have a pitcher.
With the Yankees, I don't even look at it because I'm just like, I know they're going to be older than they look and it's going to stress me out and I don't want to think about it. So I never look.
We have a pitcher. His name's Dustin May. He's got this really like red curly hair.
Yeah.
Like, very red, very curly. Mm-hmm. And he's 97. And I go, nope, illegal. Not allowed.
Oh my God.
Corey Seager, I think, is let's see, Corey Seager. He's gonna get married soon. Yeah, April 27th, 1994. He's not even a full year older than me.
That's so funny. Let's see my favorite player, Aaron Judge, who seems to think he's actually gonna play a full season next year. So here's hoping. He's 28.
Okay, so that's okay.
I feel like 28 is like the average for most baseball players I know.
That's legal. So and then Cody Bellinger, he's July 13th, 95. So I'm 2.5 months older than him, which
Torres is 23. Gleyber Torres is 23 years old.
Disgusting. Illegal. We were babysitting my baby cousin, and my mom has recently like taken all of like my overtone, that stuff that like dyes your hair, but only for a little bit.
Yeah.
And my mom has been using it, so her hair is like brown, but it has like weird pink in it, and then like you can start to see like the grays coming through. And so my mom asked Ava, she's like, "What color's my hair?" Ava goes, "Gray." And pink, but
Ava!
Gray. And then I said, "Ava, what color's my hair?" And she goes, "Gray." And I go, "Ava, first of all, don't lie, because it's not. And 2, you're gonna send me into an existential crisis. You're sending me into a quarter-life crisis, and I don't need this. I'm saying this to a 3-year-old.
Don't ask her about mine. Fun. Don't ask her about mine, because I'm literally balding.
Oh, me too. I'm thin on the side." But yeah, this whole age conversation. Renee Rapp, illegal. She can't be that young in that. What?
There's like 6 players in the Yankees who are my age or younger, Katie.
Disgusting.
Why have I never looked into this? This is why I don't look into things like this.
That's why I make sure
I could date a Yankee. That's what I'm getting out of this. That's what I'm getting out of this.
All of my favorite Dodgers are married. Corey Seager, Corey Seager is gonna be married.
My favorite Yankees players are all taken or married, so.
Yeah, Corey Seager is getting married next month.
My least favorite was arrested for trying to kill his wife. So that's why he's my least favorite. He's a great player, but he's the worst person.
Oh my God.
And everyone praises him. Everyone acts like that never happens. Who is this? Aroldis Chapman.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I also don't know most players.
Like pointed a gun at his wife after beating her.
Oh my God.
But people just act like it didn't happen. And I'm like, y'all, we can't just, like, that's gross. That's unnecessary. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Makes me angry.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, so illegal to be younger than me and be more talented than me. That's not allowed.
Like, I am the biggest Rachel Zegler supporter on the planet. I think she's one of the most talented, like, up-and-coming performers ever. Because I've been following her on YouTube for years. I love her. but the fact that she is younger than me gives me anxiety.
Yep. I see the same thing, and I'm like,
she was 17 when she shot the West Side Story remake with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Should not be allowed.
Do you know what I think is funny, though? I feel like it's really funny because, when the Kevin Spacey stuff came out, and
you mean when Anthony Rapp essentially like rebooted the Me Too movement?
Yes, he's amazing.
Not that it wasn't around before. It was definitely around before, and it was about a lot of things, but I feel like a lot of it came to a fact with kids. It all restarted and came back to the front of media with Kevin Spacey because of Anthony Rapp.
Yes. So when all that stuff happened, and then what's his name? He's one of my favorite like producers, directors. He did like Blade Runner and Brain Dead. Anyways, so he reshot all the money in the world. He reshot all of Kevin Spacey's scenes with Christopher Plummer. And I was thinking,
that's a switch.
It's amazing. Oh my God. No, honestly, when I was watching the movie, because I went and saw it because I was like, yes, like I love that energy. He literally took the money from his own paycheck for that movie and was like, nope, put it back into remaking the movie. I'm not doing this. And yeah. So I want Steven Spielberg.
Was the movie already done?
Yeah. The movie it was 2 weeks from like being turned in for release. He reshot it in 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I want Steven Spielberg to have that same energy with Ansel Elgort and recast him because I never liked him anyways. I never wanted him as Tony anyways. Can we get a recast of someone else, someone better to play Tony? It won't happen. Not some Polish man to play Tony? Hello?
It won't happen.
I know it won't, and it makes me mad. Makes me very angry. Because West Side Story is one of my favorite musicals. It was one of my favorite movies my whole life.
Yeah.
I love the whole rest of the cast. I love everyone else involved in that remake. I just hate Ansel Elgort.
Mm-hmm.
I've never liked him, and then all that stuff came out, and I was like, I told everyone. Told each and every one of you.
Yeah, so what else performed? The Ain't You Proud?
Yes! Oh, that one was good. I was dancing. I was having fun.
It was fun.
That one was so
It was fun. I, again, was like yelling, or was it? I use the term yelling far too often when it's not true. I'll just say I was loudly talking and expressing myself when I kept saying, I don't believe that jukebox musicals are musicals.
Well, you don't like bio jukebox musicals.
Yes, sorry, yes. Bio jukebox musicals are not musicals. You have to specify that
because we always are we always say really good things about Moulin Rouge, and then you're like, I hate jukebox musicals. And I'm like, Katie, specify.
Yeah, I mean, love Moulin Rouge, love Mamma Mia, love Rock of Ages,
we love
Jagged Little
jukebox
Pill.
musicals with their own plot. We don't like bio jukebox musicals. I think that they are fun because I love hearing other people sing songs. But
at that point, just go see a cover band.
Exactly. Like,
don't spend $150 on a Broadway ticket.
Can we just do like an Adrienne Warren as Tina Turner concert on Broadway?
Yeah,
I would kill to see that.
I was thinking I went to like go grab bagels for breakfast this morning for my family, and Proud Mary came on the Sirius XM on Broadway, and it was Adrienne Warren, and I was sitting there and I was going, I think with all of my issues with bio jukebox musicals, the way Tina ends, and for the life of me, I've seen Beautiful twice, and I can't remember how it ends. I know it ends with her like about to go on stage for a concert, but the way Tina ends is she's literally like about to walk up the steps and perform a concert, and then she walks up the steps. It kind of like goes like blackout, and then you see her back at the top, and then you're basically at a Tina Turner concert. So I thought that made sense. The way that was done. And and then they just performed the rest of the songs. They're like, we couldn't fit these anywhere into the show, so here's it going at the end for this concert. At the point, I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm not saying everyone who's there cared more about seeing a Tina Turner cover band.
Right. And like, well, I mean, it's Adrian Moore too. Like, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. And so
my cat is in here. Kitty, get out. Kitty. Kitty. Whatever.
Your cat's name is Kitty?
That's the only thing she's ever responded to. Kitty. She's just staring at me. She doesn't care. Whatever. Deadass, she just laid down on her back and I kicked her. Like, I pushed her with my foot out the door.
Oh my gosh.
I hate cats. Okay.
But yeah, okay, so when I was watching it, I usually force my dad to watch the performances with me, even though he truly could not possibly care less.
My whole family, I love the parade, so I force everyone to watch the whole parade.
But so my dad was like, I don't know how, for whatever reason, my dad remembered, even though I feel like he doesn't care, that all of these shows had performed years earlier. And I go, well, yeah, the only show that's performing for the first time is
Jagged Little Pill.
Jagged Little Pill. Wait, did Ain't You Proud perform one year?
Yeah, last year or the year before, I can't remember.
Yeah, because I know Mean Girls performed 2 years ago. Jagged
Dear Evan Hansen is
Hamilton never performed.
Are we sure about that?
Pretty sure that was their first time ever performed. Because they, not for whatever reason, Hamilton had no press ever. They released
because they couldn't afford it.
Hamilton couldn't afford it?
At the beginning of Hamilton, they couldn't afford it, probably.
I feel like it was always so much
who technically produces Hamilton?
Jeffrey Seller.
Oh, maybe
right?
not.
I feel like Jeffrey Seller produced it. But that's what I'm talking about is we never got B-roll of them. We never saw anything from Hamilton. And I always thought it's because I always actually thought it was kind of smart, kind of like how Hello Dolly never performed.
Oh,
they kind of wanted it to be.
What it was is they never performed because their show doesn't look as good off the stage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which
is why Moulin Rouge shouldn't perform. Which is exactly what it's not the same thing.
I remember when Comet performed on the Today Show, it was kind of a mess.
Which is I'm glad that Moulin Rouge performed on Good Morning America the way that they did. I'm glad that they shot it at the theater and just had I'm so glad that was how they did it, because otherwise I don't think it would have been right. It would have been, because that ensemble's too big. Everything about it is just too it has to be on their stage for it to work.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hamilton never performed, but the only show from the 1920 season was Jagged Little Pill. Yeah. It also got the most nominations
because Tina performed for a musical last year.
Season. Yes. And I feel like I don't know how to say this in a way that this is just my own thought process, is these are all shows that will for sure return to Broadway.
Well, yeah.
When it reopens.
Here's my thing. I have a genuine question. Is how is Mean Girls still alive and well on Broadway?
I don't know.
And that's not me hating on it. I'm just genuinely, I don't understand it.
I ask the same thing about Chicago.
Well, because Chicago's a Fosse show that they can never take out. Don't even.
I have this theory
of Chicago. I've never seen Chicago on stage before. My sister hated seeing it I think she saw it on Broadway and she was like, I hated it. It was boring. I think Chicago's boring. I don't think Chicago translates well on stage. I think it was meant to have been a movie. The whole I think it was.
I do think the movie is. I think the movie is better than the musical. I've seen the musical twice.
I've seen a bootleg of the musical and I thought it was boring to watch as a bootleg, and I was like, oh, I still want to see it at some point in my life.
Because it's
otherwise, because it's a staple in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. I saw it. The first time I saw it was on a tour, and it was Christy Brinkley as Roxy and John O'Hurley as Billy. Mm-hmm. And then the second time I saw it was at the Hollywood Bowl, so it had the all-star cast. So it was Samantha Barks as Velma, Ashley Simpson as Roxy. And actually, Ashley Simpson was really good in the role of Roxy.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing is I feel like Roxy, you can get so many different types of people to stunt cast Roxy and it works. Because Roxy is like the type of character that's meant for stunt casting.
Yeah.
Like I can't
Lucy
explain
Lawless,
it. It's just what it is.
Lucy Lawless was Matron Mama Morton. Stephen Moyer was Billy. And Drew Carey was Amos.
That works.
Wild cast. Like,
yeah.
We love it. I mean, it was.
I forget that Drew Carey was in that's.
I've seen Drew Carey at the Hollywood Bowl a couple of times because he was also
funny.
Wilbur.
Oh yeah.
Hairspray.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I still think that like when it comes to Mean Girls, I also think it was another weird one where it's like because Sabrina Carpenter was Katie as the shutdown happened. So it's like,
I would love
to bring in a random.
Though, I think that she's great. I like Sabrina Carpenter.
Was Kyle Seelig still in the show?
I think so.
When it closed?
I don't
remember.
I know nothing.
Whenever I think of Kyle Seelig, I think about the fact that he was supposed to be Pippin in the national tour, and then something happened where his doctors were like, your voice is not safe. And then so Matthew James Thomas, who was Pippin on Broadway in that revival, was like, I guess I'll do it.
I'm pretty sure I met him on the streets of New York outside of Bandstand, because here's a really funny story actually. So I went and saw Bandstand. I saw it for free. A really good friend of mine, Winona, she's the best. She texted me one day and she was like, hey, I was seeing, I think it was when she was seeing Dear Evan Hansen. She was like, I was seeing Dear Evan Hansen and she trains service dogs. And so, or she used to, I don't remember if she still does, but the one that she was training, she took with her to shows to like train them with something. I don't remember, but she used to take them to shows and stuff with her. And so she had one at Dear Evan Hansen and she was stage touring. And she was like, I met this guy who does house lighting at the Jacobs. And I was like, oh, and she said, I knew Bandstand was at the Jacobs. So I was like, where is this going? Like, I was like, what is this conversation we're having? And she was like, if you want, let's go see Bandstand. And I was like, what? And she's like, he offered me like free tickets for me and a friend to come and see the show. And I was like, oh my God, yes. Like that was like the only show I listened to all summer. So she was like, let me ask Jill because I know she'll want to go. And so I was like, yeah, sure. I was 18 years old. I have never flown anywhere before. I had never been on like a solo trip in my life. I had never like done anything like this before. And I was like, let me get a plane ticket. And she was like, okay. So we picked out a day. She texted him like the day that we were going to be in New York because she was able to drive up because she was in DC and right outside of DC at the time. And so she was like, I texted him the date. He texted me that it worked. He would have 2 tickets for us. And I was like, holy crap. I bought a plane ticket. I didn't tell my parents I bought the plane ticket. I brought it up casually. I was like, hey. I got in trouble. And then, yeah, 2 weeks later, I flew to New York for 22 hours. And it was a 22-hour trip. I got an Airbnb to sleep in. It was like a $30 Airbnb in Brooklyn. I Ubered because I didn't know, like, I wasn't accustomed to the subways yet. Like, that was my first real, like, well, I'd been to New York before, but it was like with my sister. And we never really went outside of Manhattan. So, like, I didn't really know the subway system well. So I, like, Ubered into Manhattan from Brooklyn. And then she drove me from the show back to my Airbnb and everything. And then I took an Uber back to the airport. Like, it was like...
You went to New York just for the one show?
It was Bandstand, Katie.
Yeah, you know what? Fair.
I was getting
Fair
free tickets to my first Broadway show. How can you say that?
That's so cool.
Yeah. Like, it was like the best thing. And that was what kickstarted me going to New York every single year since. Like, now I just go every year since, and I see shows, and that's all I do is I go and I have fun. I meet up with friends. I see shows.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, same. Big same.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been going at
But I met
least
him
once
through
a year.
I said all that and I didn't even talk about what I was going to talk about. But
Matthew James Thomas.
I met him outside the theater because the guy that my friend knew at the Jacobs, he was like coming out and like to talk to us before we could go into the show and like to give us our tickets. And like we were just hanging out on the sidewalk, whatever, and like just talking. And he like is walking by and he goes, "Oh, hey, Matthew." And I was like, "Who's this man?" Like, I was like, "What is going on?" And he like pulled him over and he was like, "This was the like revival Pippin." And I was like, "Matthew James Thomas?"
Hey.
I was like, "What?" So we talked to him for like 5 minutes. He's the nicest guy. He was so
I'm
so
sure.
sweet. Super awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I have a picture with him somewhere because
I didn't get a picture.
it was back when I stage door. I don't stage door anymore. Like I like to watch stage doors. I feel weird participating in them at this point because
I pick
it just
and
feels
choose.
weird.
I kind of pick and choose.
Yes.
Wicked.
Fair,
I didn't stage door Wicked because I was like, I don't want to deal with 13-year-olds.
I staged door Hades Town. I think was the last one I did.
Really? That would be a good one to stage door. I think.
But again, I pick and choose.
Right. I always stage door like Moulin Rouge. I stage doored both times I saw Moulin Rouge. I saw in Boston and Broadway stage doored. Tamutu winked at me at the Boston stage door Moulin Rouge. So that was like the highlight of my life. Like I was like talking to him and like I was telling him like how much I enjoyed his performance because I never am like super annoying about the way I talk to people because I'm like they're tired, they don't care, like they just want to like sign, take pictures, and go. And so like I was like briefly speaking to him and like he winked at me as he was walking away and I was like, oh my god. I love Tamu too.
Oh my gosh.
Ricky Rojas is one of the nicest guys. Just putting that out there. Ricky Rojas is one of the greatest people to ever walk this earth. And I think he is just the coolest person on the planet.
Love that.
Because I met him at stage door, then I got a cameo from him for a friend of mine, and he was super awesome. So he's the best.
Great. Love that. What else? What else happened? Do we have any Broadway news?
We got the prom trailer.
Oh my god!
And I got some beef. I'm so excited for it. I'm gonna say that right now.
Like them thinking that Wicked is at the Broadhurst.
I got some beef with the theater situation, and I got some beef with James Corden. I got some beef with actually that's pretty much it because the rest of it I loved.
This picture I sent you, somebody on Twitter had posted it.
Yeah,
and it's like.
That picture set me off. Like that triggered my fight or flight.
So annoying. It's clearly like
because I saw the picture before I watched the trailer.
That picture is the Schubert.
I think
because it goes Schubert, Broadhurst, Majestic.
Let me look at it again.
But it says Golden, and I know the Golden isn't on that side of the street.
No, the Golden is the other side.
Yeah, Golden is on the south side of the street, and the Broadhurst and the Majestic are on the north side of the street.
The Broadhurst marquee doesn't even look like that either. Like
the Broadhurst doesn't have a marquee like that. I know because I made a whole TikTok series where I ranked all the marquees.
And like Majestic, why would you put Wicked there and not Phantom? Because Phantom is just as like
Wicked is at the Broadhurst in this picture.
Hold on.
Yes.
That's so unclear.
And then Eleanor is at. I'm assuming that's supposed to be the Golden and then it just says Broadway.
So like is the Broadway Theater? Because the Broadway Theater is not that.
No, and that's not what the Broadway Theater marquee looks like one bit. And the Broadway Theater is essentially in Times Square.
I mean, the Broadway Theater is like huge outside. Like it's like in your face. This is the Broadway Theater.
Yeah, it's very like 60s architecture, and I love it.
Same.
This picture bothers me.
Yeah, it does. Like that screen cap. And then I can't remember the other side of the street because it briefly showed the other side of the street in the trailer as well. I can't remember what was there, but I know that it pissed me off too.
I don't know. I was so confused as to why do that? Just because, okay, so when I think about a show
Ryan Murphy just does whatever he wants and does not care about the consequences. And I fully believe that.
Well, the thing is, people aren't going to be paying attention to that. Like your average viewer of the movie will not care. They won't give it a second guess. Whereas like you and I and Broadway fans and fans of The Prom, the musical, are going to be like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like it would have been cool if they had put it at the Longacre. Like I think that would have been so cool if they could have put it at the Longacre.
Yeah. I didn't see The Prom. I've listened to it a few times. I didn't get like into it, but I enjoy it. I love it. I think it's fun because it's very me musical. Like it's very dancey.
It's a Casey Nicholaw show.
Right. And so like it's very me. And so I like it. And I'm excited to watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it because the cast, oh my God. Like Ariana.
I will say that show renewed my faith in the musical comedy. Seeing that show, I said, okay, we're back with a good musical comedy. It was an original concept. It was a touching concept. It was very like, it was very much like a now concept, but I do think that
broke the internet on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
And it was the best thing on the planet.
Yes.
Loved it.
Absolutely. I loved the show when I saw it. I thought it was
like I'm excited to see it because I didn't get to see it. Like I'm really, really excited. But my beef
with James Corden, I don't know what your beef with James Corden is.
Okay. I don't like James Corden.
Let me say this. I like James Corden.
I do.
I think he's very talented. I think he's very funny. I think he's a good performer.
I don't disagree. But for what reason is he in every single movie that has come out in the last 3 or 4 years? Why? And also, here's my thing. Okay, and here's my thing. I know this is beef that a lot of like the Prom fans have and a lot of Broadway fans have. Is why are we? I'm fine with the rest of the casting. I'm not a fan of the Prom. Like I love the Prom, but I'm not like diehard fan or anything. So I don't know if like this is controversial or not. I'm fine with the rest of the casting. I have no issue with the rest of the casting. My biggest issue is James Corden because there are so many, and this is an issue I have with a lot of things. And like Darren Criss put it very well whenever he was discussing this topic. He said he's not playing gay characters anymore because there are other people who are actually gay who can play those characters. So Darren Criss isn't doing that anymore. And I think that a lot of straight people need to stop doing that because there are so many roles like this one in The Prom that the fact that James Corden kind of looks like Brooks Aspankus, like, let's just cast him because he kind of looks like him and they kind of have similar vibes. Like, why was it?
The way they cast The Prom, they essentially just said, who are the film version of these stage actors?
Like, my issue is having so many friends and people that I love and adore in the LGBTQ plus community, having so many people that I care about. Mm-hmm. It bothers me that it's a typecast thing because James Corden is playing the role that he is like being told is a stereotypical like white gay man. That's essentially what he's doing. He's not playing it based on his own experience as a gay man because he's not. So that's like my thing is
playing it as an American, and I hate when British people try to do American accents. I hate it. You can't. No one can do a good one except for Florence Pugh. And even Florence Pugh, you can kind of tell.
You bring up another point. It's because like you know how much I love Nicole Kidman. You know that she's like
I don't know if I've
the
ever
angel
Nicole
of my
Kidman
dreams.
Talk, not in a movie.
Well, she did in the trailer. Oh,
yeah. Not
she's Australian. If you're unaware,
that I knew.
Yeah, she's Australian. And which is why she's Baz Luhrmann's like queen for everything. Which I love. And I love Nicole Kidman more than I love myself. I would die for her. I think she is one of the greatest women to ever exist in this entire universe. I will go down on that statement. I love her. But sometimes when she has to be an American in things, I don't know how to put it. I love her. I adore her. I think she's one of the greatest actresses ever. But sometimes that American accent,
the thing is,
ain't it?
The way I feel,
and she's been doing it for so long. I'm surprised that it's still like. And
doesn't she live here? Doesn't she live in America?
Sometimes she's half and half. I think she's like dual citizen.
Okay.
I think. I'm pretty sure Keith Urban is like.
He's also Yeah, because he's also Australian.
I love him. I love Keith Urban. I've had a crush on him since I was a kid. I love that
I
man.
love that they named
I
their
don't even
child.
like country music. I just love
I
him.
I love that they named their child Sunday. I love that name.
I know. I think it's so cute.
I think it's such
They're
a
the
cute
best.
name. I just I it's the prom is a weird one for me again because I feel like the actors who were in the original cast had been in it for so long and they were so
Yeah.
deeply tied to they were essentially written as kind of
For
like
them.
themselves.
Yeah.
They were kind of written and it goes to and especially when it comes to Angie Schwarber, they just named the character Angie.
Right.
And then for
It's
Christopher
like
Sieber,
whenever you do it's like you do a show like Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can was written for Aaron Tveit and Robert Leo Butz, Carrie Butler. It's like
yeah.
that kind of situation where it's like the music, everything was written for them to perform.
But it even goes so much further in the prom where they essentially used their own personalities.
Right. And that's
Because and the best joke, the funniest running joke in the prom that I said this is brilliant, is they kept making two of a kind references on for Christopher Sieber. He kept making
yeah.
two of a kind references, which for anybody who doesn't know, Christopher Sieber was on the TV show Two of a Kind, in which he played the Olsen twins'
I
dad. He
forget
played the
about
Olsen
that all
twins'
the
dad.
time.
And
I literally forget about that.
they made a running joke off of it, being
Yeah.
like, my show came on right after Two of a Kind. And I'm like, there is no way that joke, if they kept it in for the movie, is gonna land.
Right.
Because it's Andrew Rannells playing the role.
Yeah.
But it would be too on the nose in a film version if Christopher Sieber were to
That's
make
also
that
true.
joke.
That's
So
also
it
true.
makes sense. And I just if they keep the joke, it's not gonna land the way it did on stage.
I just have my other
It's not
beef
gonna
with
be the
like
nod.
yeah, and my other beef with like the James Corden casting is like the cast was already stacked. Why did we feel the need to have him? Like that's what I can't understand about continuously casting James Corden and things. I think he's talented too. I don't see any issue with his talent. That's not my issue. It's just there are so many other people who would be willing, ready, and able to play these roles that he keeps getting. And I get it, he's talented, fine. But I think that he is mediocre at best compared to other people.
I do think that it would have been really cool to see Brooks Ashmanskas reprise his role.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like you already have Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep. Like, why did we need to also have James Corden?
Especially because Brooks Ashmanskas, nobody really knows it. So it could have been like and introducing.
Great. Right. It would have been so great to have that. But like, nope. We got to put James Corden in every musical movie. Watch him show up in West Side Story as like someone walking on the street.
Isn't Brian Darcy James going to be Officer Krupke?
He is, and I love that casting. I'm very excited about that. I think that's the best casting they could have done for Officer Krupke. I can't talk.
I try to look at when they make film version of movies. It's never going to be what you want, ever. Right. It's never going to be like I'm very excited about the In the Heights movie, for example. Yeah. I know for a fact that they have changed lyrics.
Oh yeah.
That they have, because I remember years ago, Lynn was tweeting something and there's a lyric in Benny's Dispatch that goes, oh God, how does it go? It goes, Manny Ramirez is in town this weekend. And they changed it, or at least he like wrote, I don't know if it was a draft, I don't know what, but he tweeted something where it goes, he changed it to Big Poppy is in town this weekend, which like is still like, you still are pushing it back because Big Poppy hasn't been like playing baseball in a while.
Right.
And so So that was weird. And then there's also lyrics that are very like of the time In
I
the
think
Heights.
musical people, when writing about baseball, need to do more research about baseball.
Well, I mean, it's literally just a throwaway line.
Well, but it still bothers me.
Yeah. But then there's also lines In the Heights like I'm going to I'm going to send you a calling card, which
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows what a fucking calling card is.
Yeah.
I had to Google what it was. And
Yeah.
it's just essentially like you're paying for minutes for somebody to use on a payphone. Payphones don't exist anymore.
Calling card in my mind is like what a murderer uses after he's done murdering. Or like some criminal like leaves something behind that's like a
Yeah.
signature thing. That's what I think a calling card is because
Yeah.
of Halloween Town High. In Halloween Town High, Debbie Reynolds has a line about like the knights. Now they had like a sword at the school, and she's like, "That's the knight's calling card." And I was like, "So that's what a calling card is." Like
Oh
I was
my
like
God.
7 years old.
And the thing is, they're also making, instead of In the Heights being over 4th of July weekend, they're making it over like the entire summer.
Yeah,
And then they're also,
which I feel like works better for a movie though, because
yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
actually, I don't know. Some movies take
here's
place
my
in
thing.
one day.
Well, here's my thing. I know for a fact a lot of my friends hate movies that take place in one day because one of my favorite like stupid movies, Undrafted, is just over the course of one baseball game, and my friends hate it for that reason.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
and
don't get
then
it. I personally don't get it, but like,
they're also going to have to change. And then for In the Heights, they're also going to have to change the fact that the reason Nina drops out of college is because she can't afford it, because the way she drops out of Stanford in the musical,
yeah,
and Stanford has a financial aid rule where if your parents make under a certain amount of money, it's free.
right.
And so she wouldn't have to be doing these things. And I remember seeing it with my friend Olivia, who went to Stanford. She was down for the summer because she was interning for the Dodgers, and we went to go see Musical Theater West's production. And I turned to her afterward and I was like, "So like, these is outdated." She goes, "Yeah, it's outdated."
Yeah.
When they're talking about Stanford.
Yeah. Like my thing with musical movies and like more recent musical movies, obviously, but like Into the Woods, I didn't hate. I
I
know a
only
lot of
watched
people
it
didn't
the
like
one
it.
time.
I know a lot of people didn't like it. I saw it in theaters. I enjoyed it. I was fully prepared for a 3-hour movie because it's Into the Woods. I was ready, willing, and able to sit still for 3 hours for freaking Into the Woods. I didn't agree. I've never been a big Johnny Depp fan.
But
But
also, the wolf is in one
he was
scene, and he's
great, but he was perfect for it. Like that's the thing, is like I don't like him, but he did it well. Like he was good at it. And I say that, like, I may hate a lot of actors, but at the same time, if they're good in a performance, I will openly admit that. Like, I'm not petty. I'm not that petty where I'm like, no, they sucked because they suck. Like, no, if they were good, I'll like admit to it. And I loved Emily Blunt. I loved Anna Kendrick. I love Anna Kendrick in anything. And I loved the majority of that. Chris Pine. Don't even get me started on
and
Chris
Billy
Pine.
Magnuson.
Oh
And Billy
my God.
Magnuson.
Can like
Their
the
agony.
best casting for the princes. Oh my God. And then like I don't really have an opinion on James Corden in that movie because I kind of, now when I watch it, I just skip over most of his parts because I just think he's annoying. Like I don't think he's untalented, but I just think he's doing the bare minimum.
And his Tony is for a play.
A play. So I'm like, why are we casting him in all these musicals? Like
he can do the job. The thing is, he can do the job, and
he can do it, but it's like there are people who can do it better.
Yeah, but they also need, the way I see it and the way I understand it is, you need, not to say that the rest of them aren't big names, because obviously fucking Meryl Streep is in that cast.
Right.
But it's, you need somebody to pull in, like, because apparently he's good in, like, people love him in England, and so that gets that audience.
Well, that's his home turf. But here's my other issue is, did Ryan Murphy need to stunt cast? If you put Ryan Murphy's name on anything, people will
for a
watch
Netflix
it.
movie. For a Netflix movie, I think so.
I don't think so.
For a Netflix movie of a musical that nobody's heard of, that isn't based on a pre-existing property,
Hollywood.
I think so.
Hollywood. He barely stunt cast that. Patti LuPone was the big stunt cast in that show, and she was in it for 20
Darren
minutes.
Criss.
See, I don't see him as a stunt cast.
Rob Reiner. And
okay, well, I forget about Rob Reiner, if we're being completely honest.
Rob Reiner directed When Harry Met Sally. It's my fave movie.
But that's the thing is, like, with Ryan Murphy, you put his name on anything and everyone will watch it. He's just one of those people. So, like, I didn't see why we had to go so far as to stunt cast James freaking Corden.
I don't know.
I'm sick of it. Like, I'm tired of him. I think that's what it is I'm just so tired of turning on a movie and him showing up. Ocean's 8. He showed up in Ocean's 8, Katie. For what reason? That made me mad.
To play the insurance dude.
Yeah, it was annoying. Like, that's the thing is, I didn't even know he was going to be in it. No one told me he was in it. I had zero idea going into it. So me and my friend Anna, we went and saw it because we were really excited. We didn't really have many expectations going into it because, like, I don't know.
It's a good movie.
I loved it. I love that movie. That's like my go-to feel-good movie now.
Rihanna in that movie.
She's great.
She's so gorgeous, and she
is.
Good.
But like we were watching this freaking movie, and then it gets to the end part where he shows up, and I literally looked at her and I was like, for what reason? We were the only people in the theater, and I literally was like, for what reason did this happen? Like,
for why?
Literally, like, for what did we just throw James Corden? He was in that freaking Peter Rabbit movie too. Like, he's in everything.
Wasn't he Peter Rabbit?
I guess so. Like, I don't
he voice that character?
Probably. Who hasn't done the voice of Katie?
I don't have a problem with James Corden. I know other people. Clearly you do.
I'm so sick of it.
I don't care. Like,
I feel bad, but like
it bothers me.
I feel bad saying this stuff. Like, I feel like I'm being so hateful, but it's just like I'm so tired of James Corden.
My biggest casting issue was the fact that it wasn't Christopher Seaver, that it was Andrew Reynolds instead of Christopher Seaver, because I loved that joke so much.
That's a good joke. Are you kidding me?
It's a fun running joke. Also, I think it's hilarious that the night that I was there at the prom, Andrew Reynolds was there.
That's funny.
I just like turned back and I'm like, oh shit, that's Andrew Reynolds.
I love that. Yeah. I've never had an experience like that in a theater either. Like,
and it was probably right when he was cast too, because I was watching a James Corden interview.
Yeah.
For, I think he was promoting Cats or something, and Okay, relax. Every single person is in Cats.
Okay, that's true too.
Everyone's in Cats.
True. Everyone's in Cats.
And I think he was promoting it. And I think he went on Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel, because he's the only other LA person, because every other talk show takes place in New York, but Jimmy Kimmel is here. And he was talking about how he was cast at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, and the beginning of the year then would have been early 2019. And that's early 2019. I saw it in January of 2019. So I'm like, oh, it's probably around the same time. He was like offering the role, and then he's like, I should probably see the show.
Yeah. Like, I've never had an experience in a theater where like there was someone famous there or like something like that. But Nicole Kidman, this is really funny. So I saw Moulin Rouge.
Something to say.
I saw Moulin Rouge on a Wednesday night, and in August of 2019, and we were sitting in row Q. I want to say, I believe it was Q in the orchestra, and it was great seats. There were amazing seats. And I was flipping out. We were so excited. And then 2 days later, we were stuck at the airport for like 6 hours because our flight kept getting delayed. And
you've been there.
Yeah. And which LaGuardia's floor, not comfy. Don't recommend.
I've never been to LaGuardia.
Oh, I don't. It's the worst airport on the planet. They redid it and it somehow got worse. And so we were sitting on the floor watching Graceland, Mary Beth and I. And We were having a blast, just wearing our Moulin Rouge shirts because we were like needing some energy. So we put on our Moulin Rouge shirts that we had bought at the show. And we were watching Graceland, having a blast. And all of a sudden I get like a million Instagram and Twitter notifications. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I open it. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were at the show. And guess where they sat, Katie?
Row Q.
Our seats, exactly. Row Q on the aisle. Literally, Nicole Kidman sat where I sat.
I have had experiences of seeing quote unquote celebrities at shows. Also, Nicole Kidman, speaking of her ex-husband, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Speaking of people doing research for roles they would then play, he was at my performance of Rock of Ages.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
He was not.
He and Katie Holmes both.
Okay, I love Katie Holmes, full disclosure.
So yeah, he was there the night that I saw, but like here in LA.
Wow.
He was there. I like turned and told my dad like the next day, and I was like, Dad, look what happened.
That was Tom Cruise, one of the worst people on the planet.
And then because I saw Hamilton in its first year, the guy who played Toby on The West Wing was there that night, and Norm Lewis was there that night.
Ah, Norm Lewis.
So, yeah, and then I've just seen celebrities at random shows because of where I live.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that the last time I was in a theater, I was seeing the world premiere of American Ballet Theater's of Love and Rage, and I was sitting in the same row. I had to like get up and move for Jennifer Garner.
Yes, you did tell me that. I was like jealous. Oops. I love Jennifer Garner. I love Jennifer Garner. She's the best. She's great. I think about her often. I know we've talked about this before, but I think about her a lot in Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Because they were like, who should play this hooker? Jennifer Garner. No other option.
Oh my gosh.
But she did it well. She did it so well. Love her. And then Michelle Rack played her in the musical. Which that casting was spot on. So good.
Sure, if you say so.
So good.
Oh my gosh. We talked a lot about the prom.
I talked a lot about James Corden.
You have a vendetta. You are sick and tired of him. And I'm like,
I am. I'm sick of James Corden. I would fight James Corden.
I've been to James Corden's show twice.
Yeah.
The first time it was Lake Bell and Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, I love him.
And the second time it was some basketball player.
Me?
Jack Hanna, the animal guy.
I don't know him.
Oh my god. He does animal stuff.
Okay.
And Betty White. And Betty White, I swear to God, I almost saw her die because like a monkey, like almost like essentially attacked her.
But Betty White can't die. That's not.
No.
She's immortal.
But it was, and also this was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like James Corden.
I love when people are like, when's Betty White gonna die? And I'm like, she's not. That's an if question. That is an if question.
That's not a when. That's an if.
Yeah. I love her. Same with like Morgan Freeman. Never.
Okay, but
Harrison Ford. Never. We don't discuss that. No.
Harrison Ford has survived plane crashes.
Harrison Ford is fine. He's not gonna die. He's fine.
I've told you that Harrison Ford and who's his wife, Callista Flockhart.
Yeah, I love her.
They're the same couple in my head as William H. Macy and Felicity Huffman.
Yes, you have said that, and that's valid. I could see that.
There's another, and then essentially, like, if I didn't love Tom Hanks so much, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson would be right in that category too. I'd be like, they're all the same couple.
That's fair, but at the same time,
prove me wrong. You can't.
It's fair, but at the same time, how dare you? Because Harrison Ford is like 1,000 times hotter than either.
It has nothing to do with it. Truly. Oh, yeah. And Kevin Bacon and
Kevin Bacon stresses me out. I don't know. I don't remember.
Kevin Bacon is married to, oh no. But that
When I think of Kevin Bacon, I think of Footloose, and that's it.
Kevin.
Well, and X-Men First Class, and then that's it.
I think of Apollo 11, Keira Sedgwick.
That's
those
four. Why did I not know he was married to Keira Sedgwick?
Those four couples, same people.
Okay, that makes sense. I could see that though, because Keira Sedgwick and what's her face?
Calista Flockhart.
Yes, they look very similar. I could see that because.
And then Kevin Bacon and Harrison Ford have similar vibes.
At one point in Harrison Ford's life, I think that him and Kevin Bacon could have been confused for one another.
I also used to confuse Steve Carell and Ben Stiller.
Oh, that's fair though, because they're both like comedians.
They're the same type.
Similar. Yeah, they look similar.
They're the same, and they're the
Let
same.
me tell you though,
like casting type.
I've always had a crush on Ben Stiller, and I now have a crush on Steve Carell.
Fair.
Also hot.
Also looped into that category of people I mixed up: Tim Allen and Robin Williams.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's all in the coloring and like the hair and skin tone.
Tim Allen is the worst.
Comedic, and they're both comedians. And
I always say Tim Allen's the worst, but he makes my favorite Christmas movies. Like Christmas with the Cranks and the Santa Claus movies, you can't go wrong. Like those are like some of the best movies.
Santa Claus 3 is one of the worst movies.
It absolutely is. Santa Claus 2 is the best one. The second one is the best one.
I had a friend growing up. She randomly one day took a day or two off in 5th grade, and then she just did extra work. And so she's just an extra in Nancy Drew with Emma Roberts.
I love that movie.
And then she's also an extra in the Santa Claus 3.
Oh, good for her. Was she in that scene like at the North Pole whenever he's singing New York, but as the North Pole?
He Tim Allen climbs right over her in it.
That's I'm gonna watch that this weekend, and I'm gonna look for her now.
You have no idea who she is or what she looks like.
I don't, but I'm gonna look for who he climbs over, and I'm gonna be like, "Is that her? Is that her?"
He like pushes her a little, and then she's in like the Chinatown scene in Nancy Drew.
That's a good scene. Good for her.
Yeah. Just some extra work.
Emma Roberts is one of those people. I don't like her as a person, but I'll watch almost all of her projects because they're good. Like Holiday. Oh my god!
Holiday was so much fun. I also
watch
have
Holiday on Netflix. It's so good.
I also have her edition of Cosmo.
She's the first pregnant woman to be featured on Cosmo, and I was like, that's a random thing to be.
A random fact.
Good for her, I guess.
You're like, okay,
why not? I saw that on Twitter, and I was like, that's a random thing, but all right.
It's like when you watch the Olympics, and it's like, this is the first person to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and with this, and it's like, how many qualifiers do you need? Right. Eventually, everyone's going to be the first person to do something.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, to wrap this mother up, every time I say that, I think of Hairspray. What?
I heard you say it, and I heard you say that, and I was like, wait a second, who is this?
Time to wrap this mother up.
Who says that? Queen Latifah?
You can't stop. Anyway, Jill, where can people find us?
On Instagram,
on all the places.
Thoughts Shared Podcast at TikTok, on TikTok at Thoughts Shared Podcast, on Twitter at Thoughts Shared _, but we don't really use Twitter that much. And yeah.
We should, but Twitter freaks us out.
Twitter stresses us out.
Mm-hmm. And if you'd like to follow me, I'm Katie. You can follow me on TikTok at Katiefornia. You can follow me on Instagram at Complete Katie. And that's it.
I'm on everything. I'm on everything at It's Still Hayes.
Cute. All right. Well, until next time, goodbye. Please rate, review, subscribe, all of the things. Please. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.